Hello. Sorry about the technical issues. I'm back on. Give it a minute and see if we can continue where we left off. Got to roll with these things. Can you hear me? Oh, hey, Gata. Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. All right. I'm going to pick back up. And I guess what I'll do is I'll post what I can of the first part. But if you all are coming back and you have a question in the chat I didn't answer, add it back and I'll do my best. Okay. So I'll post like part one up until I got muted, and then I will go back into it again for part two. So, okay, let's see. Where was I? How do I balance being in my feminine as we heal? Meaning, like, the relationship, this was a good question because, okay, let's say you're in relationship and the dynamic is like not good, like as in he is shut down. But he's doing things that really aren't okay for you within this sort of shutdownness, right? But when someone is shut down, it's not a time to explain like your deepest yearnings and desires and pain to them, right? Because they're shut down. And so, like, they don't care enough in that moment. And I know that sounds really harsh. So, part of it is rebuilding to the point where they actually can really hear you without taking it in with so much resistance and defensiveness. And so that looks like communicating your boundaries short and clearly, right? Like I said earlier, that's not okay for me. I can't be spoken to that way. No, I'm not able to do that. That doesn't feel right. But you're not sort of forcing them to sort of be something they're not ready to be, because I do see this a lot. Like, why are you in a bad mood? What's wrong? Is there anything I did? Remember, as women, like, our instinct really is to internalize and make it our fault somehow. This is sort of like that codependent tendency. And we don't want to be doing that, right? Like, hold space for yourself. It's not all your fault. And the bulk of the time, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And so, can we remove ourselves enough to not get so caught in another person's emotional state? And, if you are having to really kind of create a lot more space than you're comfortable with, because that's what's required to see what's possible within the relationship, it's going to be hard. It takes a lot of discipline. But I really believe that this is like the only way to see what's truly possible, ladies, right? It really is. And so, is it going to be this way the rest of your life? No, it will not be this way the rest of your life. You will see what's possible from a very clean and clear conscience. And so, yes, to holding boundaries for yourself, but picking your battles very carefully and using your words really thoughtfully, and let him realize more through your actions than your words how to find himself. I remember so many situations when I was healing my relationship where something wasn't okay, or he would react to something in a way that would cause him to kind of go back into that like avoidant mode or that shutdown mode. And like, when I was really learning to be there for myself, I just allowed it. And I just was like, I don't have to go down into it with them. I don't have to, take this on. Like, I don't have to make this something that I caused. And I would just choose to remove myself in a way where, what can I do? How can I show up? What's something I need? Sometimes it meant leaving the house, honestly. Like, I had to, really support myself in a more intense way, where in the evening I was taking a walk or I was just getting out of the environment, but I wasn't getting sucked in. And as a result of me not self-abandoning and holding myself in that way, he was much more able to realize what he was doing on his end. No words were required. It was like, oh wow, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know why I was acting like that. It allowed him to reflect and have self-responsibility in a way where if I would have been there pointing out, like, why are you acting like this? Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't deserve it. This isn't right. If I would have been doing all of that and going into educating him, there's no way he would have heard me. And so a lot of it is like trusting yourself and trusting that the people that are meant to be in your life are going to figure certain things out, and you're going to feel so much better holding that space for yourself. And so if you're healing a really disconnected dynamic like this question is asking, um, it is the long game, and it requires a lot of self-discipline. There's no bypassing that. Let me know if that helps. It's hard. Okay. Um, Blossom, was I muted when I was answering your question? If so, like, let me know and I'll talk about it again. I just want to make sure I get to all the ones that I was muted through, because I felt like I had some good answers, and I hope it's all not lost when I repost it. Okay, good. How should I show up when the relationship has been turbulent because of my self-abandonment? Start right where you are. Start today. No, oh, I did this wrong, I did that wrong. No, like, staying stuck in it, right? Like, how can I do it different today? I have a new level of awareness and insight today. So how do I show up from this space? And that means baby steps where you start taking care of yourself. You don't need something, the ego wants like something big, right? It wants like that. It wants it fixed. It wants it resolved. And we have to be able to say, oh, okay. She couldn't hear. Okay, type it in again and I'll speak to it. But anyway, so with this, we want to start right where we are. So that means you're showing up today. And that could look like really paying attention to what you need, really giving voice to things that aren't okay for you, where you've been losing yourself to appease others, and start to slowly turn inward. And what do I need? What do I want? What lights me up? Who was I before I was in this connection? And where did I lose that in order to be accepted by him? And do I even like doing this class with him? Or do I even like eating the same food? And where can I start to respectfully and kindly start to reconnect to what I love? Because some of these qualities that so many of us held naturally when we were single, it's like little by little, we get lost in the other person's experience. And now it's like really rediscovering who you are and showing up little by little every single day. And before you know it, your inner child is going to feel like, oh, she's got my back. I can trust her. She's not going to abandon me in favor of this other person. Like, she's going to show up for me. And it's really beautiful, but it takes that consistency and slowing down in baby steps to really, really be there for yourself in this way. Um, so let's see. I'm applying skills in marriage and it's working, but now I've started to realize that I'm not prioritized in my friendships. Okay, yeah, this was a great question. I'm having to learn to be completely alone with myself. Okay, so just to go back into this, when we are showing up authentically and honestly and, really living from this space, there are going to be some people who do not like this version of ourselves. They are going to be not loving this new and improved version. They are going to prefer the version that worked better for them, that accommodated them and was more convenient for them. So there will be a dropping off that occurs, because when we start to live authentically, the people that really aren't meant to be with the authentic version of us, we're going to kind of like shed that in a way, but we're creating space for those that are, because when we are living authentically, we naturally draw in those that are meant to be in our life. That's why when we're like kind of pacifying and going into people pleasing or morphing into who we need to be to not rock the boat or to support ourselves in a social situation, this is short-sighted, because it's not rooted in what naturally occurs when we're living from that space. And so this is where people are kind of forced to up level with us. So we're not doing our partner any favors, for example, if we're pacifying their ego, because that doesn't contribute to their growth in any way, shape, or form. It just keeps them playing small. Actually, they need to face some of those dark spots, and they need to face those adult temper tantrums that come up when, we've expected someone to just be who we need them to be, and work through that. And so this is where you also actually are peacefully and open-heartedly inviting your partner to up level, and you're kind of just surrendering that certain things are going to be shed when we're living authentically, and that's creating space for what's meant to be in your life. So there is that can occur. I hope that speaks to it. Let's see. How to prevent self-abandonment and loss of focus on my needs when in a relationship that I really care about. Like, I tend to lose my centering and focus on the other person greatly. Yeah, and I think that this is a very, very common thing where, you know, every day, every day you build this a habit until it's integrated, like checking in with myself. Like, where am I changing who I am because I'm scared of losing him? Or where am I morphing into who I need to be to make sure that I keep that love flowing towards me? Like, again, we're looking outside of ourselves for a sense of okayness, which is not sustainable at all, because we don't have control over that. And as soon as things are like smooth waters, next thing you know, they're rocky again. And then we're having to like self-abandon even more to keep this cycle going. And so eventually we have to face our fears in order to expand and say, like, it starts with me. I need the internal to start, like, being grounded and centered and have that foundation within me. So then I can create from this space. And really like standing in that emotional storm and trusting yourself, trusting your judgment, and trusting who you are. This is really takes a lot of courage. When we're really being authentic and deep in this work, it takes a lot of courage. But once you see the things I'm talking to you about, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. And so that greater accountability is now there, right? Where it's like, no, I can't do that to myself. Or, oh my gosh, like that feels gross. You'll start to notice things that you used to do will no longer feel acceptable to you on any level. And this is all part of it. It's really beautiful, right? I wonder if some of you can relate to that. Let me know. Okay, I'm getting some hearts, so thank you. Okay, let's see. I have a few more questions, and then I'm going to try to post the first part and this part, and cut it off where I'm muted. Let's see. After work, I try to transition from being heavy in my masculine to my feminine energy. What are things I should avoid doing to attempt and maintain myself being predominantly, so the person can be more in their feminine space after the workday, right? Because this is kind of like the habit. We are go, 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 go. If we have a job where we're go, 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 you are going to likely not, if you're not conscious of this, you're going to likely just stay in that mode when you get home, even if you don't have a reason. Like, all of a sudden you're rushing to make dinner, or you're rushing to get this done, check, cross it off the list. That's done. This is done. We're in that mode of getting satisfaction through accomplishment. And we have to be willing to take a step back and be like, is this actually necessary? Do I need to be in this quick, high functioning state? Even ask yourself that at work, right? Because, sometimes we don't actually need to be in that mode, and we can support ourselves moving through things differently throughout the day as a whole, right? We don't want to use work necessarily as an excuse to like be on go mode. We have to like be willing to really recognize where we need to be present for ourselves, even in the work day. And work can be a beautiful practice to, kind of slow down and make sure we're holding boundaries, holding space for ourselves, really reflecting before responding, that sort of thing. But specifically when we bring it home, I think it's helpful to kind of have a reminder, whether you set a reminder on your phone or whether you wear something that reminds you, like, I don't have to be in this state anymore. So there's that natural reminder, like, oh, I can slow it down. Now is time to sort of nourish myself and be a little more reflective and to be present for myself and enjoy life, right? Because we want to live a well-rounded life where we're not just like good at work. We want to enjoy all aspects of it. And so this is where you start to get to know yourself and you start to get curious. What are some things I like to do? Okay, I watch TV every night. Is that really working for me? Do I want to be doing that? Or am I just defaulting to that because I'm not thinking about other alternatives? And you're starting to consider other possibilities to draw in. Do I want to, what are my hobbies? What are my interests? Do I want to go join that yoga studio down the block? Do I want to go be part of that running community? Do I want to go be a part of that nature group? Whatever lights you up, like you're starting to think outside of the box of what's going to grow and expand you and get you out of that tunnel vision of doing everything the same every day, right? Not being such a creature of habit. And you're also really kind of, embracing the feminine. You're wearing, if you're wearing things that are beautiful or even just cute or girly that make you feel just good in your own skin, right? You're taking care of your body, you're giving yourself nourishing foods, you're giving yourself a lot of sleep, some sunshine, all of the basics, right? And then maybe you're listening to music and stretching or dancing and getting to know your body, getting to know yourself and connecting to your sensuality. This is important. But if we are just like a taskmaster, we're not going to be connected to this side of ourselves. And so much of it is about that intention. What makes me feel good? What makes me quiet my mind? Do I take time every day to quiet my mind? Do I take time to have, ritual practices that feel really good within me? Am I connecting to that part of myself? Am I addicted to worry? Do I always feel like I have to have a concern or a problem to solve? Am I comfortable and at ease just being a peaceful person? Or is that really hard for me? Starting to bring this higher level of inquiry and accountability to it, right? So this is a very, very important thing. And it's an experiment. Let it be playful, right? So much of this is we tend to create it all like so seriously. We don't have to be so serious. Like let it all be playful and joyful and follow what feels joyful. And if you try something and it doesn't work for you, okay, that's great information. But we don't always know until we try it. And then we get that feedback and we go a different way. And so it really is that continuing practice of being so present and open to what lights us up and allowing that to come through versus like always following the path of efficiency, really breaking that habit of efficiency at all costs, right? We don't always need to be in go mode. And so really being present for your being, just for that beingness, that state of beingness to live life in this way. It's amazing. And it really draws out that abundance and that connection to who you are and begins to invite others to feel more relaxed and at home in your presence because you're connected to your center, which then makes them remember, oh, this is my natural state. I don't always have to be doing and achieving, and it becomes contagious in that way. So like it offers a deeper healing collectively too, which is really beautiful. Let me see if there's anything else. Did I miss any questions, lady? I'm going to answer about one or two more. Um, I got a comment. I've been focusing on letting go of the outcome, surrendering to what is being, and more curious instead of fearful what lies ahead. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And this is a daily practice. Like this wisdom is all inside of you, right? But we often don't quiet ourselves enough to access it. And so trust yourself and trust that like and this is so powerful and beautiful inside of you already. What if I am still healing from my childhood and have a hard time having clarity on who I actually am versus when I am morphing into a relationship? Yeah, so the definition of like being authentic changes the more we access where we've been altering and modifying. And so if we've had a hard childhood, we've had a lot of patterns that we had to learn in order to stay safe. And so it's really automated and deep to go into those. And so, like, as I was saying earlier, the first step is slowing way down. Like, don't feel like you've got to speak to something immediately or you've got to go into that role immediately. Like, assess the situation and take practice in slowing down where you can. Like, let me think about this, right? Like, let's not just go into automation like we're driving a car, you know? Like, let's think about it. Let's see where we are. Where are we showing up for ourselves, you know? Um, so this is really like something to connect to where you're really going deep within and bringing in that questioning. So be gentle with yourself. In the beginning, you may realize 2 weeks later that you didn't show up for yourself. And that's okay. You'll know through your level of discernment whether it's something to circle back on or whether it's something that you need to go back and just process within yourself and do better next time. And so there is going to be a certain amount of grace required, right? Self forgiveness, grace, growth. And as you recognize it and as you see where you've been playing small or where you need to show up differently, showing up to that in those baby steps and following that path and rebuilding a new foundation of security brick by brick by brick. So, okay, I'm going to stop there, ladies. I'm apologize for the little tech glitch, and I will post both of these in the on my channel. And thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the thoughtful questions. I just love, love, love your questions. You all are amazing, and I appreciate you so much. Talk soon. Bye.